Yo, what is up guys, Jerome here, and today we're talking exploits. The ones the very best players are doing right now. They're getting way ahead on gold. They're over 1,000 gold on some of these players. They're getting way stocked up for next phase, but we can catch up right now. All we gotta do is know what they're doing. So I've compiled the very best exploits, the secrets these people are doing. Things like how to do the waylaid supply farming way faster than everybody else. How to travel across the game in a matter of minutes. I can get all the way to Desolace on a level 1 character. I also want to talk about some of the node farming secrets. The things that people are doing to get the best fishing nodes, the best mining nodes, way faster than the rest of us. Huge video today, so let's get right to it. Alright, so let's talk travel. I would say travel's the biggest issue everybody's dealing with right now. We don't have mounts, we don't have miner movement speed. One of my very favorite travel tips is the death skip. Basically, if you use an add-on called logout skips, you can see where your character will respawn when you die. You can get really creative with this. For example, you could skip an entire zone by just dying tactically in the right spot. It's very effective for getting a level 1 alt to a place like Tanaris, where it would be very difficult otherwise. On the topic of death skips, you can also do them without even dying at all. If you click the question mark icon on your interface, you can use the unstuck feature to teleport to the nearest graveyard. You can only do it once every 4 hours, but it's a very nice way to get from, say, the bottom of Gromgol all the way up to the top. I recently used this trick to farm my Serendipity rune in Duskwood because I didn't want to have to get res sickness running all the way up. Another nice exploit you can do with the death skips is to run all the way into the tram as a ghost. On my Horde characters, that's one of the best ways to skip some of the most annoying areas like Burning Steps as a level 25. When you reach the tram, it'll automatically resurrect you and you can just go to Ironforge. As a Horde player, it's so frustrating to try to travel around to places like wetlands. One option you have is to join a Dark Iron Ordnance farm. These farms are faster with more people, so they'll want to summon you out there so they can make more gold. I'd recommend staying for a while to make some free gold, but you can also use this as just a free summon to get out there to do a rune or whatever you want to do. One last travel tip is that Hearthing works again in Classic. There's a macro I've put below the video that automatically invites somebody to your party when you're in RFC. By inviting someone and leaving a party like this, you'll be able to immediately begin teleporting out of RFC. Being able to teleport out like this is really nice if you have your Hearth and Thunder Bluff, since you can do something like training engineering and then teleporting back. So we've talked about travel, now it's time to talk about some really big gold-making exploits. So the first gold-making exploit is actually the waylaid supply farming. So a lot of people don't really know how this works, or at least I didn't until recently. There are a lot of chests in the game that spawn over and over again, and you can loot them for waylaid supplies. For example, near Thunder Bluff, there's a chest you can loot every few minutes, and it's going to give you pretty much a guaranteed waylaid supply. It's something like 90% chance. All you have to do is farm the dwarves, and you're going to get these keys that open a chest that just respawns every minute or so. One of my favorite chests to camp is the one in the Stone Talon Mountains near all the goblins. I'm able to do 3 different things at the same time to make gold, and it's a huge exploit. First, I'm camping the chest to get waylaid supplies so I can take them back for reputation. Then I'm also able to fish the nodes nearby to get trunks so I can make even more gold. At the same time, I'm also killing the shredder robots nearby and I'm harvesting them for shredder turbochargers. So when I'm not at Stone Talon Mountains, I like to go to places like STV to fish. The big problem with fishing in STV is that the nodes are surrounded by crocodiles, so there's only limited nodes you can really farm. My favorite trick to farm the nodes a lot faster is to use an Eagle Eye Scout. If you can get an alt to level 14, you can scout with Eagle Eye and you're able to skip around the entire zone and see where all the nodes are. I'll put a macro below the video so you can spam Eagle Eye and scout really easily. Let's say you don't want to level to 14 though. There's another solution you can do, which is dead alt scouting. When your characters die, you can still see things like fishing nodes, so you can just run around as a ghost and scout for your alt. What I do when I'm STV fishing is I put a dead alt near Gromgol so I can see where those nodes respawn. Then, since my Hearthstone is in Gromgol, if I see them all respawn, I can just Hearth back and get there really quickly. It's not just scouting though. If you have a friend or maybe a second account, you can do some really cool stuff with fishing. Like I said before in STV, it can be really hard to get all the nodes due to the crocodiles. There's only limited nodes that are even accessible in the zone, so what I like to do is I have an alt at the top of the zone and one at the bottom. If you have multiple characters at 150 fishing, you can just log in between them and then go to the north and the south of the zones really quickly. This is very effective in Desolace, and it effectively ping-pongs the nodes back and forth. Speaking of really cool things you can do related to gold with alts, one of them is camping vendors. So I camp all sorts of vendors in places like Thousand Needles. Of course, the new Dark Moon Fair vendor is one of my favorites as well. Basically, if there's a vendor that sells things that people want, you can buy them and then sell them at a huge surplus on the auction house. I gave one of my ults 40 silver and sent him to the Dark Moon Fair, and he came back that night with over 35 golden items. One really good vendor you could camp is the Alchemy vendor in Booty Bay. He'll typically restock 3 of the very good mana potions, the ones that are worth over 1 gold each. And I'm not suggesting this because it's definitely not, something Blizzard would love if you did. But hypothetically, what if you joined a very big guild, one of the McDonald's of guilds, right? And then you use that guild to get a bunch of layer invites, different layers, so that you could buy more vendor items. I'm not saying to do it, but if you did it, you'd probably make a bunch of gold. In fact, you'd probably make so much gold that you would feel compelled to subscribe to this channel because of how good the information was in this video. And then you might just get addicted to making gold. That usually would be a problem, but that's okay because I've got a video with some really good gold making tips that aren't covered in this video. Check out my gold making secrets video next to get rich.